Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of the Bishop Verot Show. My name is Brad Nagalescu. I'm Director of Student Life here at Bishop Verot, and today we're going to talk about a very important topic for our students, and that is how to get into college. So to do so, we have our college expert here, a school counselor for the seniors, and the woman who knows everything about getting into college, Mrs. Kelley Kaminsky. Kelley, thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So first of all, please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, how you got to Bishop Verot. I know you're an alum to the school, so just kind of a brief bio.
Yeah, I'm honored to be here. I graduated in 1995, and at that time, Bill Stayskoll was the college counselor.
Okay.
After that, Maria Barbado took over, and I believe,
and she was here for a couple of years, just a couple of years.
Just a couple, 30 something.
Yeah, that's it.
So I may be only the third person to ever have held the job, which is quite an honor and a privilege.
Cool.
But after I left Bishop Verot, I went to Vanderbilt University.
Good school.
Good school. Graduated with a degree in English and became a newspaper and magazine writer after that.
Awesome.
But really, my heart was called to teaching and mentoring students. So I found my way back to the classroom to teach English for the Lee County school system, and eventually back home to Verot.
Awesome. Well, thank you for all the work you do. I know that, helping kids get into college is very important, but also is not easy. And I think it's getting harder as getting into schools, especially in Florida, tends to get a little bit more difficult. So everyone kind of talks about how it is getting more difficult, maybe since our day, which wasn't that long ago. We're pretty young. But is it true that it's getting more difficult? And if so, what are some of those factors as to why?
It is. I would say it's different for one. Like you said, things were different when we applied. I might be even older than you, that I put the paper through the typewriter in order to apply. But one of the main factors that have changed things is that things are all, of course, digitized on the internet. We have the Common App, which is being used widely across the university system in the United States, which just makes it easier to apply. You're not sending a paper through the typewriter. You can do 20 applications with the hit of one button. So it's just easier. But also, there's just more people in the world. There's about 1 million more high school graduates today than there were just 10 years ago. So that's more competition at schools who generally have not changed in size, who are trying to accommodate more students.
And especially in Florida, I think we've seen such a huge influx of population over the past 10 years here. It's making the schools in Florida much more competitive, right?
Absolutely, and especially since COVID, where we've seen people move to Florida and the South in particular. They want to stay in the state because of the competitive admission, tuition. So that is changing things for our students.
What are some of our success stories we've had? So obviously, we have a very high rate of kids who graduate from Verot and go to college. So can you tell us some of the, even though it is very difficult, we have some kids going to some really good schools next year. So can you kind of explain some of the success stories we've had?
We do, yeah. The class of 2026 has done amazingly so far, and there are more decisions coming in. Majority of the Ivies have not released their decisions yet, so we may still have some other big ones coming. But as far as like UF being the most competitive institution in our state, the one that many students have a goal of getting to, I can say that we have had a fairly big increase since just last year, where at this point last year, the class of 2025 had about 6% of the class admitted early. And now the class of 2026, there's about 10% of them who were admitted early. So it's quite a jump for early admission.
What do you attribute that to? I'm just curious. Why do you think that's the case?
It could be because the students, we've allowed more students and opened up access to AP earlier at our school. This is also the first year of graduates at our school who have been able to earn the AP capstone diploma. So they're able to say that they graduated with that, which places them in a similar standing as a student with an IB diploma or an ACE Cambridge diploma. So
now, one thing coming to Verot soon is dual enrollment. We've had an episode of the Bishop Verot Show about that. If you want to find out more, check it out. Do you think that dual enrollment will play a role in helping students get into these more competitive schools going forward?
It could, yeah. Dual enrollment is seen as the same level of rigor as an AP type of a class, although there may be some students who are able to access dual enrollment who maybe couldn't access AP. So that would add to that rigor component as they apply to college and could potentially help them. Okay.
For a student just entering high school, how should they be thinking about their four-year plan? I know that obviously, and we'll get to this, but junior year tends to be a year that people focus on when they want to get into college. But I think that if you want to get into one of these better schools, it's a four-year plan, right? So what can some of our incoming students do to prepare themselves best to get into the school of their choice?
It absolutely is. And it's hard to think about that when you're just leaving eighth grade and entering high school and already starting to think about college. But really, the best prepared students across the country are doing that. And we want our Bishop Verot students to be in line with that level of preparation.
Right.
So in the counseling department, we encourage all students to make a 4-year plan with us, sit one-on-one with their school counselor and develop the classes that they will take because of that rigor. We want the students to take the most competitive course load they can take in order to get that point for rigor.
One trend we're noticing with our current seniors is a shift towards Southern flagship and large public honors programs, which are becoming as selective as the Ivy League schools, actually, which I think, again, is population growth is one, and they got to be more selective. How can the outcomes of this current class of 2026 be changing the way counselors advise students on what a balanced list looks like?
Right. So when students apply to college, when they reach junior year and even beginning of senior year, we're wanting them to come up with a list of schools where they're applying. It's best to have a diverse list where you have some that you know you're likely to get into, some that are a level, and some that might be a reach. So schools that in the past, years ago, maybe would have been a target, a reach, or a level selection for a student, have become more of a reach and a little bit more difficult because of that competition. So we want them to just open their minds and be open to possibilities of schools that are like FGCU and FAU and even our 2+2 state college plan that allows students a pathway into our major universities.
One of the big things now, and I can't even remember if this was a thing when I was in school, but early enrollment or not enrollment, but what is it called? When
action.
Early action. Yeah. So is that becoming, is that something kids should take advantage of? Does that help them if they want to get into these more difficult schools? Applying early, does that help them?
It does. And I do like to remind students and parents that universities are also a business, right? So they are looking to protect their yield, which is the number of students that they know that they can get to matriculate to their school.
Right.
So it behooves them to admit more students early. So if you're ready, your portfolio and your grades are within the middle 50%, we do want students to apply early. And in our state, that could mean October is the earliest deadline for seniors. So we want them to be ready with their scores, their GPA, and all those factors to hit apply in October.
So when should a student begin to take the tests? SAT, ACT, that kind of thing. When should they begin doing that, in your opinion?
We really want students to do that earlier in their junior year. We're seeing students wait maybe a little too long for that. It's best to take the ACT and the SAT once cold to find out which one you do better on, maybe in this time of the year for a junior. Kind of try it out. And then we like them to decide which one is your best fit and practice to take that test over and over again. Because ideally, you want to lock in your best score by the end of the summer before you start senior year.
Okay. One thing I've heard about is admissions officers becoming more vocal about preferred sustained depth over long list of unrelated clubs. What does that mean? Yeah,
well, maybe years ago we would talk about being a well-rounded student, right? And that's still a thing. We still want our students to try everything as freshmen, see what they're good at, give it a shot, and then really, though, decide what is your passion. So maybe it's a sport, maybe it's a musical instrument, maybe it's research or community service, but whatever it is, the colleges like to see that you've sustained that passion in multiple areas.
Interesting.
So your clubs, your community service, your classes all align in that one area.
So if you just have a bunch of random stuff, they're going to think you just did that maybe for college.
Exactly.
And don't have a passion to follow. Okay, interesting. Is that what activity stacking is?
Right. So the Common App allows 10 spots for activities.
Okay.
Some of our students have a hard time narrowing it down to 10, right? But there's a reason they're limiting it to 10. And they want to see that there is some sort of theme there, right? You didn't just try a little bit of everything, but you really had a heart for serving the community. And I can see that in 5 or 6 of your activities that you dedicated yourself. As
a process becomes more data-driven and strategic, the pressure on students is at an all-time high. And we see this a lot. I'm sure you guys see it all the time. The amount of pressure that our students face when it comes to selecting a college, applying it, and getting in, or being deferred. What specific practice moves is our counseling department making to ensure students stay grounded and focused on their personal growth rather than just their resume?
Right. And I think that's part of our mission here at Bishop Verot is that we want the students to really find out who they are and be a whole person. And so we want that to come across in their college application. So we start very early on in the counseling department doing career interest surveys through SCORE. We talk to them about summer programming that is worthwhile, that targets an interest of theirs, and it shows some skills that they might develop.
Now, do you mean that during high school or the summer going into college?
During high school.
Okay.
Yes. We want them to spend their summers, whether it's getting a paid job, doing dedicated volunteer work, attending a university program, something that really shows that they're working on their personal development and growth. We also do things like Career Day coming up, where students get to explore and see what really strikes their passions. We want them to feel good about the career they go into. We offer college tours and other career explorations in town to really get students to figure out which direction they want to go and which college would meet those needs.
Now, this year you guys we did it a couple of years ago, and this year you did the whole college tour of Florida, right? How was it? Besides exhausting, I've been on it, and it's a whirlwind. It's 3 days. You go to every part of Florida. How was it this year? Was it good?
It's amazing. Yeah. Yes, the students love it because they're there with their friends. They get to explore the campus, and it's very powerful for them to imagine themselves there on the campus. And we have many students who say, "I never thought I could go here, but now that I've heard this and seen this, I'm really going to work to get that and make those scores and get my grades up so I can get into this school."
Okay,
so it's a very motivating experience.
And you guys are planning one for an SEC trip for SEC schools. Right. Do you want to talk about that briefly?
Yeah. So part of the reason is because, as mentioned earlier, it's so competitive in Florida to get into universities. We're seeing more of our students be interested in some SEC schools, Ole Miss, Alabama, Georgia Southern, University of Tennessee and Kentucky. So we're trying to show the kids some of those schools too, and what's possible. We need more attendees to make it happen.
So if somebody wants to go on that, can they come and see you up in Student Services?
Yes. Okay. Contact us soon.
SEC school visit tour. If you want to go, come see Ms. Kaminsky. So wrapping up a little bit. So can you sum up what's the best advice you can give to our students about the college process and what they can do to begin to prepare to get into a school of their choice?
It's difficult, but we need our freshmen to lock in and really do the very best they can. You wouldn't believe how many freshmen say, "Oh, I wish I had worked harder my freshman year."
That was me, by the way. Go ahead.
Yes, because believe it or not, only freshman, sophomore, and junior year grades is what the college sees. They don't see anything you do senior year before they make their decision on you. So it's 1/3 of your time. So we really need our freshmen to focus academically and do the very best they can. And also to start early in the process. Start prepping. Do your math homework. Legitimately do it because that helps you prepare for the SAT.
Okay.
Read books. Reading increases your vocabulary. That will help you. Okay. So just honestly doing your schoolwork with passion and interest, that will get you to where you want to go.
Good advice. Last question. So this is your second year now doing the college counseling thing? What has been the most rewarding? Is it harder than you thought it was going to be? Because it seems to me it would be very difficult. I couldn't do it. So kudos to you for doing this. I mean, it's so important for our kids, the work you do. What's been the most rewarding part of doing this, do you think, so far? And you're almost 2 years now.
Yes, it is more involved than I thought. But the rewarding part is working with families as a whole, not just the student, but I've offered a lot of programming for parents this year, and I find that if it's their first child that's going to college, they're just as clueless as anybody else because it's been 20 plus years since they've done it, right? So I like taking care of the whole family and advising them as to the route to take and even just considering costs and scholarships. And so that's the best part is seeing families come together and meet their goals and get the kids where they want to go.
Love that. Well, thank you so much for coming here and talking about this. Obviously, it's a hugely important topic for our families, for our students. If anybody has any questions about the college process, please go see Ms. Kaminsky up in Student Services. She's there to help anybody out. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Bishop Verot Show. Please go to the Verot Network on YouTube and hit subscribe for us. And God bless you all. We'll see you next time. Thank you.